Hey everyone, this is Shishi. So, I'm not going to lie, but I had honestly planned on having my first read aloud video done by now. But it's been a process. Okay, a lot of screaming, crying, internally questioning my life choices, but it's being worked on, I promise. It'll get done eventually. But that's not really why I wanted to make this little video. You see, I got a certain notification today. And it made me so excited, so ecstatic, that essentially I decided that either any plans I had were either going to be thrown off onto the back burner or thrown out the window to where it could go and turn into mush in the rain. So I have decided that I will be doing my very first impressions video. My first impressions are essentially going to be a little personal review on a specific subject from media or even a character from said media, and basically giving my overall first thoughts on it. So, with that in mind, our first topic of the day, Dynasty Warriors Origins. Let's go. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge video game fan who, honestly, I like a lot of genres, but arguably my most favorite, if not my actual most favorite genre, is the hack and slash, or what's dubbed Muso game, where you're big, you're powerful, you've got a whole bunch of characters to choose from, you're flashy, you're fancy, and you're just destroying a ton of your opponents without barely putting in any effort. And Dynasty Warriors and its sister franchises are essentially what put it on the map. So let's first dive in first on what Dynasty Warriors is, what it means to me, and then go into my impressions of Dynasty Warriors Origins. So what exactly is Dynasty Warriors to those who don't know? I already mentioned that's a hack and slash Muso game, but it's also loosely based off historical fiction. See, back in the 14th century, there was a book created called Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which depicted a time period of war in ancient China. I believe the time period was the late 190s to mid 200s, though I'll be sure to put the actual time period in the video. But back then, it was just constant warfare. Civilians were struggling, the government was incapable of handling the situation, and so many people decided that all of them were going to try and make a grab for power, which inevitably led to the Three Kingdoms era. If I wasn't already a Dynasty Warriors fan, that premise would have sealed the deal for me. If it wasn't obvious enough, I'm pretty familiar with the franchise, or at the very least the older games. See, it all started when I was really little. I used to go to my uncle's house all the time. He lived maybe 10 minutes away, and if he wasn't babysitting me for a couple hours, I'd be spending the night there, and we always did video game sessions together. Two of our most favorite games to play together was Dynasty Warriors 3 and Dynasty Tactics 2. So, once I started playing it with him, I got obsessed, never went away, got worse, as I started playing more games in the franchise. 4, 5, love that. 6, we don't talk about that one. Never played 7. 8 was okay, but I think I had a broken copy because it was so laggy and buggy that it was almost unplayable, and I really didn't like the rock, paper, scissors mechanic. Never played 9, though I keep getting mixed signals from people over whether or not I should play it, so that's kinda in the back burner forever. Typical Dynasty Warriors formula in a nutshell, at least for the older games. Pick a character, each with their own unique personality, appearance, and weapon choice. Pick the difficulty, go to the battle prep where you customize their items that they need or their weapons if you got anything new. Check out the win conditions so you don't screw yourself over. Keep an eye on the time limit. Take out hundreds of enemies. Watch a few cutscenes here and there in between bouts. Keep an eye on the win conditions until bada bing bada boom, you beat the big bad or accomplish whatever goals you needed to in the level. Move on to the next, rinse and repeat. Not too bad, right? That being said, I had no idea what to expect when it came to Dynasty Warriors Origins. I saw the trailer a while back when it was first announced and thought it was really cool, but again, I wasn't sure what I was really getting myself into. Of course, I got my answer when I checked out the demo today. First off, we've got a very interesting situation with the characters. Instead of picking a character from a roster, you play as this generic pretty boy. Not too bad, and I'm being honest, but I remember a lot of people in the comments for the trailer when it first popped out, how they were so excited because there was going to be customization in the game. Well, we don't know if the real game will actually do customization, and if this is just not a generic character that is being put in front of us, but I imagine if it's not, a few people will be disappointed. I don't really care. He looks really cool, and I still get my weapon choices, so it's fine. But yeah, that was one of the first things I noticed when I played Dynasty Warriors Origin. You had a generic character who isn't part of any force. It's like a completely clean slate, which makes me really excited to see what else is in store for the game. You have to work your way up through the rankings, which reminds me a lot of Dynasty Warriors Empires, which is essentially you doing the same thing, just being a bit more strategic about conquering the territories. Another thing's the difficulty spike. This is probably one of the more challenging Dynasty Warriors games I have played in a long time, if not the hardest. I got my butt kicked so bad. It wasn't funny. Well, actually, it is. So when I picked the game, I was given 3 difficulty levels, which is honestly a lot less than what you're typically given in Dynasty Warriors game. At least in the older ones, you had very easy, normal, hard, and I think hardcore mode. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But in the demo, you had 3 options, and I just chose the middle difficulty. I wanted to see how it was on a normal setting, and the amount of times I got my clock cleaned. I actually went down to easy mode after accidentally exiting out of the game, and instead of it being a breeze like I was expecting, just to make myself feel better, I still lost. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. But that also brought up a new mechanic that I wanted to talk about. In the old games, whenever you lost a fight, whether you died or you failed to protect the camp or even the head leader of your army, you would have to start from the beginning. You have to go, wait for the loading screens to complete itself, and then bada bing, bada boom, hope that you memorized the layout or was a lot faster in making decisions, because otherwise you're going to be there a while. But in this game, they do things a bit differently. Now, whenever you tend to lose a fight, whether you die or you failed in accomplishing your goals, you would instead be brought back to the layout of the battlefield, and you'd be able to see like little checkpoints of your progress throughout the fight, and you could pick and choose where you wanted to take off. So there's no starting from scratch unless you really want to, which I think is pretty cool, but can be a bit disorienting, especially if you don't remember what exactly happened in the fight when you were adrenaline rush comboing people. Now, let's talk about the combat. Usually, what you would have is your X and Y buttons that would switch between your special and regular attacks, eventually filling up a Muso gauge that would, for a period of time, once you pressed a button, would decimate a whole bunch of enemies with a Muso attack. Here, it's different. It is quite the adjustment because you have 2 main, or no, let's go 3. 3 things to keep an eye on when it comes to combat. First off, you have your own unit to command, which is awesome. You finally get to tell people what to do. In battle prep, you can set a list of moves for them to do. They each have a cooldown, so you have to keep an eye on it and time things right. But you can have them fire a swarm of arrows at people. You can have them circle and impale your opponent. You can have them charge forward as if they're ready to rush down anyone in your way. And that is amazing. Again, you gotta keep an eye on the cooldown, but you also gotta keep in mind that these aren't overblown attacks. These are a way to help stun your opponent, so this way you can have an opening to continue your combos, or just a way of giving you some breathing room. They're under a time limit, and they also do take a certain amount of people to work. If you lose men in battle or they run away, you essentially have wasted any opportunity to give yourself an edge, which can be very scary if you've done it poorly. Next is the battle arts. After you use your special and regular attacks, you'll have a battle gauge that allows you to use these really flashy, really strong super art moves. You can have about 4 per battle. You get to pick and choose which ones you want, and they also can vary based on the weapon that you've chosen. They're really interesting and they're really varied. I personally love them, but I tend to mess up the buttons since there's just so much to already worry about in battle. And again, you gotta make sure that you have your battle gauge up so that you can use them. If you don't, or if you keep spamming combos, it's not going to help you. In fact, I tend to miss more than actually hit my opponents, so it feels satisfying when I get the timing down. Finally, you got your battle companion. In battle prep, you actually get to choose a partner who you can have with you during your battle. And you can actually swap between them, which reminds me a lot of Warriors Orochi. On top of that, they allow you to do devastating Muso attacks together. They're basically your partner in crime to thick and thin, because they'll actually follow you wherever you go. So they act like a bodyguard, but they're AI based, so you gotta understand they're not gonna be the best in battle. But that's what switching's for. What I find really funny is the fact that they get their own KO counter. So, unlike Warriors Orochi, where it's cumulative total with no matter what character you're at, here you gotta work your way up and make sure that if you have swapped characters, that any praise goes to that character and that character only. Not groundbreaking, but again, I found that funny. With all that said, what is my overall first impressions of the game? Well, in case it wasn't obvious, it's amazing. I am so excited. This is looking really good, really fun, and I want to play it. In fact, I'm probably going to be replaying the demo, even though I've already beaten it, just because I like it so much. It's going to be definitely a challenge, and for those of you who are ready to ride along that struggle train with me, good luck. But I think really the only problems I have with it is the fact that it can be disorienting because, there's a lot to work with. There's a lot of buttons to memorize and hope you don't mess up on. And it's a new game, going to be expensive. So I'm just going to hope and wait for a sale and pray that I don't cry when I have to wait like a year for it to go on sale. Anyways, that's it for now. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video and basically letting me ramble about this for who knows how long. I really appreciate it. Feel free to talk to me down in the comments below about what you think of the game and if you are just excited as I. And if not, well, sorry. I'll come up with another topic next time that will hopefully reach your ears, but I will see you guys next time. Ciao for now.